Hey everyone, welcome to my 2025 photography calendar breakdown where I share the story behind each month's photo. Alright, so for the January photo of my 2025 calendar, you can see it right here. There's quite a bit of a story to this one. It was pretty exciting for me. So as some of you guys may know, in October this past year, on October 10th actually to be exact, we had an amazing show of the Northern Lights here in Ontario and all across the world for that matter. And in case you didn't know, the Northern Lights is not something that you can necessarily see just automatically once you go up north. There are some areas like Iceland, for example, where it is much more common, but they are actually fully dependent on kind of our sun and the solar storms that happen and the way that it all affects kind of the electromagnetic field around the Earth. So in October, then I had the opportunity of photographing the Northern Lights in my area where I grew up, where we had never seen it before, with the exception of in May of this year, when unfortunately I was busy that day and couldn't get out to shoot. So let me kind of get into the story for you guys. I was working full time. I was pretty busy, but I got super lucky when it came to this photo because it happened on a Thursday night, and it just so happened that I didn't have to work on the Friday night. So what I decided to do was, instead of staying in town, I decided to take the opportunity, you could say, to actually drive up north to one of my family members' cottage to photograph the Northern Lights. So this photo here was actually taken only about 15-20 minutes away from that cottage, and it was roughly a 3-hour drive. And basically what I did is, after work, I got all packed up and started driving. It took me so it normally takes around 4 hours to get there, but long story short, it actually ended up taking me over 7 hours to get there, but that's mostly because I was stopping and taking photos. But once I got through all the crazy GTA traffic, around 10 o'clock, then I made a stop just south of Peterborough. More on that later, in August, by the way. And this photo was when I kept on driving all the way up to a small town. It's called Gilmore. It only has a couple hundred residents, but I got to spend some time. It was around 12 o'clock a.m., maybe 11:30 when I arrived, and I just was running around like a headless chicken just because of how visible it was. I could see it like 360 degrees around me, straight above me. It was just amazing. We had red, the greens, just so cool. And to be exact, this photo was taken around 1:30 in the morning, when the sky just completely lit up and I saw the Northern Lights just dancing around. And you could say, Aurora Borealis really put on a show for us that night. So I'll put up a video actually of what this scene looked like for me just a few seconds before I took this photo. I took a video of it just to kind of capture what it looked like to the naked eye, so I could see a lot of the details with my own eyes, unlike some other areas of Ontario or some other times when you can't see them quite as strong. Then the camera can still capture it. So what was really special about this moment for me was that you could see it so clearly, so vividly, and it got to the point where I just stopped taking photos and I just had to sit and watch for like 20 minutes just because I was just so in awe of the beauty of it. But anyways, that's a little bit behind the story. By the time I got home, back to the cottage, I was so excited I couldn't even sleep, so I ended up not going to bed until like 4 in the morning. I was just going through some of the photos, starting to edit and tweak them a little bit, but that's kind of the story of this photo for me. It was super exciting because I had gone out like 3 or 4 times over kind of like a 2-week period prior to getting this photo, because there was some solar activity that took place in the few weeks before, and I kind of took a few chances, drove all the way up to Collingwood actually, but unfortunately that was a bust. Still had fun, but no Northern Lights on that weekend, so just super stoked. October 10th, 2024, that was a great night. So thank you for just watching the video. Stay tuned for February.